Okay. Court is in session in two cases, cause number M322340 cases and cause number M332334. Both cases are styled the state of Texas versus David Christopher Lewis. Mr. Lewis, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Mr. Lewis?
Pretty good, yes, sir.
I'm doing fine. Now, Mr. Lewis, in your first case, cause number M322340, the docket sheet shows that your attorney of record is Attorney Stella Morrison.
Yes, sir.
The second case, cause number M332334, does not show that you have an attorney on that case. Is that correct?
From my understanding, I paid Stella on two cases, and throughout this time, it's been hard dealing with Stella as far as back and forth. And I didn't even find out to maybe a year ago what I was even facing against this case when we talked to the DA. So I'm still in the dark.
Okay, but my question is, do you have an attorney? Because I think the last time that you were here, the court reset this case to give you an opportunity to speak to Stella Morrison. I think you said you might have had a relative or somebody that may have worked for her or something.
Yeah, I talked to her the day when I left court, and she told me that you were supposed to appoint me an attorney because she don't practice anymore.
Well, I still have her as attorney of record. I mean, it doesn't work like, I think we gave you a judge's explanation of rights to defend us without attorney. And in that form, it states that you have three options regarding your right to have an attorney. Number one, you may hire an attorney. And in the first case, or you said, and you said in both of these cases, that you hired Attorney Morrison, even though her name is only on one case.
Right.
The second option is if you cannot afford to hire an attorney, then you can request that an attorney be appointed to represent you. And then court will decide, you would have to fill out a financial questionnaire, and the proper person will determine whether or not you qualify for court-appointed attorney.
Right.
And the third option regarding your right to have an attorney is you can waive or give up your right to have an attorney. In order to do that and represent yourself, in order to do that, you have to first sign a written waiver of your right to have an attorney. And so at this point, as I stated earlier, Ms. Morrison is your attorney of record on one case because she sent in a letter of representation on that one case. The second case, there was not a letter of representation that was sent from Attorney Morrison. So therefore, as it stands, as far as the court is aware, Ms. Morrison is only your attorney of record on the first case. Okay. So, I mean, at this point, I mean, you said Ms. Morrison has not contacted this court.
Calling you that day.
Okay, well, that hasn't happened. Okay. So this case is not going to be around for long. Obviously, you got two DWIs, both do two DWI seconds, okay? And at this point, as I said earlier, you have an attorney on one case, okay? So the court has been patient with you. That the court at this point, this case is getting ready to, the court is in a position to have this case moved on. The court gave you some latitude to talk to Ms. Morrison, to see what the status of her is regarding this case and her representing you. So at this point, the court is going to go forward. I mean, when I say go forward, we got to proceed with a disposition, get to a resolution or a disposition in this case. Okay. So as I said earlier, you don't have an attorney on one case.
Get a court appointed if possible.
Okay, well, you need to see if you can fill out a financial, there's a financial question, well, there's a judge's explanation of rights to defendants without attorney. And then there is a Jefferson County affidavit of indigence as well. So those are the two forms that you're gonna fill out. Our bailiff is going to get those forms to you. Just have a seat at that table.
Everything right here.
That's the judge's explanation. Hold on a minute. Jefferson County Court of Law number 2 is back in session. Court is in session and calls number M332812. The case is style of State of Texas versus Christopher Lee Means. Mr. Means, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Mr. Means?
I'm fine, yourself, sir.
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. And Mr. Means, you're represented in your case by your attorney Joel Vasquez. Attorney Vasquez, how are you doing?
Good, John. How about yourself?
I'm doing fine. Mr. Vasquez, what is your announcement in Mr. Means' case? This case is on the pretrial conference docket.
Judge, could we have one more short reset? In Mr. Means' case, I've reapplied for the pretrial. And for some, I reapplied back in January. For some reason, I never got it. I just spoke to the DA. And if you give us a couple of weeks to look at it, we'll give you.
Give us a reset date. Say 19th,
It could be June 12th.
June 12th.
That'd be great. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Means, your attorney is going to get your reset. Once you get your reset from your attorney, you'll be free to go. Mr. Vasquez, please stand over here and get your reset.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, you can stand over with your attorney.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next case is cause number M332614, case of style of State of Texas versus Jesus Gill. Mr. Gill is on Zoom. Mr. Gill's attorney is attorney Jared Gilthorpe. Attorney Gilthorpe is in court. Mr. Gill, you can take your mic off of mute. Mr. Gill?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, how are you doing, Mr. Gill?
I'm doing good. How about yourself, sir?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Gill, you're representing your case by your attorney, attorney Jared Gilthorpe. Attorney Gilthorpe, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, Judge.
Okay, Mr. Gilthorpe, what is your announcement in Mr. Gill's case?
We're ready. Good.
State?
Judge, this is one of Mr. John's cases.
Oh. Okay. Now, this case hadn't been,
appeared, but
This was one of Mr. Lamar Johnson's cases. He's no longer with the DA's office, and so they haven't reassigned the case at this time, so this case is gonna have to be reset.
Okay.
Next docket, we should have somebody assigned by that time.
Okay.
From the DA's office. Okay. Mr. Gill, your case is being reset. The prosecutor who was on the case is no longer with the DA's office. And so the DA has to reassign this case to, they have to get a new prosecutor in to handle those cases. And so your case is one of the cases in his group. So your case will be reset. Your attorney is going to be giving you reset. Stay in contact with your attorney and your bondsman. Thanks for being patient with us. And you have a blessed day. You're free to go. Okay. Okay. Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is in session in 2 cases. First case is cause number M331016. Second case is cause number M332554. Both cases are styled the state of Texas versus Shakita Costley. Shakita S. Costley. Ms. Costley, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Ms. Costley? That's good. Ms. Costley, you're here represented by your attorney, Attorney Theodore Johns Jr. Attorney Johns, how are you doing?
Pretty good, Your Honor.
Mr. Johns, what is your announcement in Ms. Costley's cases?
Sir, I want to have them reset to 6/19, the day that she's gonna probably more likely plea on a felony case, which is 1 month. I just talked to the district attorney here. He's gonna open up the discovery. I'll send something to them. Be honest with you, I was gonna file for motion to withdraw today, but she came in and made substantial payment last, so I'm staying with the case. And this is actually the 30-day reset. So I can go ahead and do them all at one time.
What's you want his case set on the same day as a felony?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you just showed me a felony reset.
Okay, he says June 19th, okay. Okay, these cases gonna be reset to June 19th, 2023. Ms. Costley, stay in contact with your attorney. Your attorney is going to be giving you reset. Once you get your reset from your attorney, you'll be free to go. You have a blessed day. Mr. Jones, you can stand over there and get the resets.
Yes, sir.
And Ms. Costley, you can stand over there as well.
Thank you.
And y'all have a blessed day.
Thank you, sir.
Good, yeah.
Court is in session in two cases. First case is cause number M 322-340. Second case is cause number M 332-334. Both cases are styled the state of Texas versus David Christopher Lewis. Mr. Lewis, would you please come forward? Mr. Lewis, your full name is David Christopher Lewis. Mr. Lewis, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Lewis, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? Mr. Lewis, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Lewis? That's good. Now, Mr. Lewis, I have two documents before me. The first document is titled Judge's Explanation of Rights to Defendants Without Attorney. Do you recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant? Are these your initials on the line stating you want to apply for court-appointed attorney? I also have another document here. This other document is titled Jefferson County Affidavit of Indigence. Do you recognize this document? On page 2 of this same document, there's a signature above the line that's titled Defendant. Is this your signature? Now, Mr. Lewis, before you signed and initialed these documents, did you read the documents? And did you understand what you read? And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge? Just saw something. Now, Mr. Lewis, I was looking at this affidavit and it's just on the expenses. What it says monthly expenses, right? And you put weekly.
I mean, I'm a barber, I get paid weekly.
Yeah, I know, but you're gonna have to estimate how much you get a month. You can multiply it times 4, whatever, but that's what you need to do. Okay, hold on a minute. I'm gonna get this back to you. Where is, okay, you could have a seat and you're gonna have to recalculate those numbers.
Use my phone, I need my calculator.
Yeah, you can use your phone to calculate. Hold on a minute. Okay, Jefferson County Court at law number 2 is back in session. Court is back in session and cause numbers M322340 and cause number M332334. Both cases are South State of Texas versus David Lewis. Now, Mr. Lewis, again, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Lewis, do you swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Now, Mr. Lewis, I have before me a document that is titled Judge's Explanation of Rights to Defendants Without Attorney. Do you recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes.
And are these your initials on the line that states you would like to apply for court-appointed attorney?
Yeah.
I have another document here. This document is titled Jefferson County Affidavit of Indigence. Do you recognize this document?
Yeah.
On page 2 of this same document, there's a signature above the line that is titled Defendant Signature. Is this your signature? Now, Mr. Lewis, before you sign and initialed these documents, did you read the documents? And did you understand what you read?
Yes.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge? Okay, Mr. Lewis, I read your answers. Based on your answers, you meet the eligibility requirements for the appointment of a court-appointed attorney. The attorney that will be appointed to represent you in your case is Attorney Laurie Perazzo. Attorney Perazzo is going to be given information about how to contact you, and you will be given information about how to contact her. Our court coordinator is going to give you that information. Once you get that information from our court coordinator, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day. Please stand in front of our court coordinator to my right.
You can just have it.
Okay. Okay. Coordinator. Next case is cause number M331868, case of Style of the State of Texas versus Lyle Tracy Sanders. Sanders, would you please come forward? Mr. Sanders, your full name is Lyle Tracy Sanders?
Yes, sir.
How are you doing, Mr.
How
Sanders?
you doing, Judge?
I'm doing fine.
All right.
Thanks for asking, Mr. Sanders. You're here represented by your attorney Nathan Reynolds. Attorney Reynolds, how are you doing?
Doing well, Judge. Thank you.
Mr. Reynolds, what is your announcement in Mr. Sanders' case?
Mr. Sanders has a pending drug case in the drug court.
Yes,
He informs me that it's been set to June 5th. We request that this case be
reset on same day.
Or June 5th, I will be on vacation, Judge. We could reset it for the next week.
Okay, give us a reset date. June 19th.
That's fine.
Okay. This case will be reset to June 19th. 2023. We're still on the announcement docket. And Mr. Sanders, he's still having his weekly drug test. He's been negative. So, Mr. Sanders, the court would like to commend you on your sobriety. Continue, as I mentioned, I'm probably mentioned it to you earlier, the road to recovery is not a sprint, it's a marathon.
Yes, sir.
And you know, a marathon is a long race.
Yes, sir.
However, you know, in a long race, you get tired along the way. But if you get tired along the way, you got somebody to lean on. You got the people that's helping you on this journey.
Yes, sir.
Thus far, you're doing good, and we're going to continue to pray for you that you complete your journey.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. Please stand on the 4X. Once you get your reset, you'll be free to go, and y'all have a blessed day.
You too.
Did you have that call?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, is it a connection issue?
All the everything needs to be, whatever that is.
Um,
So I've done it, done the plea, I signed it, I'm just done.
The court is back in session. Uh, Court is in session and calls numbers M 329-732 and calls number M 329-736. Both cases are styles of State of Texas versus Patrick Johnson. Mr. Johnson, would you please come forward with your attorney? Now, for the record, your full name is Patrick Johnson. How you doing? How you doing, Mr. Johnson? That's good, Mr. Johnson. You're here represented by your attorney, Attorney Donald Boudreaux. Attorney Boudreaux, how are you doing?
Just fine, sir, and you?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Now, Mr. Boudreaux, do you waive a record in Mr. Johnson's cases?
We do.
Okay. Now, state, do we have in cause, let's see, we'll do the UCW case first. In cause number M329736, the case is styled the state of Texas versus Patrick Johnson. This case is a unlawfully carrying a weapon case. And Mr. Hallpower, what is your agreement in that case?
In exchange for a forfeiture, Your Honor, the state agrees to dismiss this particular case. Also goes along with this plea in felony court, which is noted at the top of the dismissal.
Okay.
Cause number 21 dash, 1 second. It's listed at the top. It has to do with the tenure referred out.
Okay.
21-37632.
Okay, do we have a motion to forfeit?
Yeah.
Okay, where's the motion? Okay, thank you.
Also got an attachment being printed out.
Okay,
Problem solved.
now, Mr. Johnson, I have before me a document that is titled Motion to Forfeit. And in this motion, there is actually a signature above the line that is titled Defendant. Is this your signature? And Mr. Boudreaux, is this also your signature?
Yes, sir.
Now, in this document, Mr. Johnson, you'll be forfeiting a weapon to the Beaumont Police Department, is that correct? And you're asking the court to grant this motion? Okay, now the court is going to grant this motion to forfeit the weapon in this case to the Beaumont Police Department. And as part of this plea bargain agreement, the state will be dismissing cause number M329736. You were convicted in cause number 21-37632. And the court is signing this dismissal as well. Oh, it says error occurred. I think I got the same message he got earlier.
I'll have to close out of the sign back in.
Let me see. Yep. Might have to try it again. It's currently locked. Okay.
Yeah, you'll have to log out and then log right back in.
Okay. Okay, let me see if it's gonna go through. Okay, that one just went through. Okay, I just dismissed cause number M329736 and state you also dismissing cause number M329732.
That's correct, Judge, and that is just dismissed, for the plea in the felony court,
Okay,
same corresponding number.
okay. Okay. Now, Mr. Johnson, both your cases have been dismissed. Your attorney is going to get a copy of your dismissals. Once you get a copy of your dismissals, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. Thank you.
Come back.
Morning.
He's on that phone with, you know.
This is cause number M330546. Case is filed, the state of Texas versus Hernan Chavez. Mr. Chavez, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Mr. Chavez?
Doing great. Thanks for asking me this.
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Chavez, you're here represented by your attorney, Attorney James Paget. Attorney Paget, how are you doing?
Doing well, Your Honor. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Paget. Do you waive a record in Mr. Chavez's case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Chavez, would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Chavez, you may put your hand down. Mr. Chavez, I have before me a document that is titled information. This information was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. In this document, it alleges that you, Hernan Chavez, on or about August 14th of 2021, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offensive assault. Mr. Chavez, do you understand what you've been charged with? And to this charge, Mr. Chavez, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, no contest?
No contest.
Now, you're pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges? Mr. Chavez, I have before me a document that is titled misdemeanor plea admonishment, is also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of this same document, Mr. Chavez, there are a set of initials, ECH. Is that ECH? Or did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, right there. That's my initial, ECH.
Okay, what's the H stand for?
It's for CH, I always put for Chavez and E for Hernan. That's how I always.
Oh. Oh,
My last name is
CH.
Chavez.
You stuff was-
That's how, yes.
Yeah,
Since you started making initials? Yes.
Okay.
okay, so the CH is Chavez.
Yes.
Okay. Now, on page 2 of this same document, there is a signature above the line that's titled defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes.
On the next document that's titled trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes.
And is this your signature
Yes, sir.
on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
There are 2 boxes that are checked at the top of this document. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes, sir.
We have the certification.
Hey,
You got it?
Really?
Okay.
Thought I would fit it.
Next document I have is titled Discovery Certification. Mr. Chavez, do you recognize this document?
Yes.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Chavez, before you sign and initial all of these documents that I just showed you, did your attorney, Mr. Paget, go over these documents with you?
Yes.
And did you read and understand everything that Mr. Paget went over?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chavez, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chavez, well, state, I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment. And I also have before me State's Exhibit Number 2, the probable cause affidavit. State, would you like to offer States 1 and 2 into evidence? Any objections?
No objections, Your Honor.
The objection, State's Exhibits Number 1 and 2 are admitted. Mr. Paget, you have advised and counseled Mr. Chavez. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
None, Your Honor.
Mr. Chavez, your attorney, Mr. Paget has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chavez, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given, and will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Your Honor.
What is that agreement?
Exchange for a plea of guilty or no contest, the state agreed to offer Mr. Chavez 1 year deferred adjudication, community supervision, $500, $1,000 fine. Court costs 60 hours community service and no contact with the planning witness, Bethany Goza, and anger management classes. Any other terms and conditions deemed appropriate by probation, Your Honor.
And that is our understanding, Your Honor.
I think you spelled Bethany wrong in the, on this document. She spelled it, with a I-E.
That would probably be my fault or
Oh,
my
okay.
handwriting.
Okay,
It's not his.
yeah, it's,
I wrote it.
it's Bethanie.
That's my handwriting. I'll see if I can make this a little bit more legible.
Okay, so she has to put it in, it's gonna be in the judge.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
It's sloppiness on my part.
okay, no problem. Now, Mr. Chavez. State is offering that you serve 1 year deferred adjudicated probation. During the 1 year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $1,000 plus court costs of $352. Is there I just thought about something that is in anytime isn't there another fee?
The $100 family violence, but I don't.
Victim
remember.
That's not,
But
that's
they
not.
class-
Yeah.
Oh, that's just on family violence. This is not,
This
this is just a regular assault. Okay,
Yes,
okay,
yes.
okay. Now, Mr. Chavez, the state is offering that you serve 1 year deferred adjudicated probation. During the 1 year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $1,000 plus court costs of $352. You'll also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a urinalysis fee of $15 each month. You'll also be required to pay a reimbursement fee of $15. Your total monthly installments, that is the total amount that you will be required to pay each month while you're on probation, is $206 a month. Will you be able to pay the $206 each month?
Yes,
And you will also be required to perform 60 hours of community service. You will also be required to attend and complete an anger management class, is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
And you will also be required not to have any contact with Bethany Bolza. And you will also be required to adhere to the other standard terms and condition of this probation. Now, Mr. Chavez, do you understand the state's offer?
yes,
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
yes,
And do you accept the state's offer?
yes, I do.
Okay, Mr. Chavez, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Now, Mr. Chavez, if you successfully complete this probationary period, this case will be dismissed. It would not result in a conviction on your record, and you may qualify for a non-disclosure. You can talk to your attorney, Mr. Paget, about the non-disclosure because he's quite competent in those matters. Now, Mr. Chavez, just have a seat, and when our court clerk is ready for you, she's gonna ask you to come up to her window, and once you go up to a window, follow directions. Once you finish following the directions, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. And Mr. Paget, is this
I have
your
some
only?
more, Your Honor.
You don't, okay. Doyle. Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session and cause numbers M331380 and cause number M327966. Both cases are styled the state of Texas versus Michael Gallo III. Mr. Gallo, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
How are you doing, Mr. Gallo? I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Gallo, you're here represented by your attorney, Attorney Peter Doyle. Attorney Doyle, how are you doing?
Pretty good.
Mr. Doyle, what is your announcement in Mr. Gallo's cases? You want to set on the trial docket? Let me see. It's on the trial docket. Okay.
Well, I said,
Yeah.
said it was on.
So you're announcing ready?
Well, in a sense, we were ready to go to trial, but I had said it was an announcement.
No, it's on the trial docket.
Okay, how does that mechanically work?
If you announce ready, your case is going to be set on a trial order. If you're now, is this one of Lamar's
No, that's
cases?
fine. So we're ready.
Okay. And what's your announcement?
He doesn't want to plead.
I understand that,
All right.
but my question is, are you ready for
Mechanic-
trial?
Well, mechanically, no, but I mean, I can get ready if the trial's gonna be Wednesday. I mean, what the.
Normally, we pick the jury on Tuesday. I mean, there's some cases above yours. I just need to know if you're ready. We're gonna have you as being ready, and then we're gonna put you in a trial order.
I don't have access to a car Tuesday afternoon. So,
Excuse me, bro. Let me get my.
Hold on a minute. Now, you wanna talk to your attorney first? Because you were saying, I don't know what you're gonna say. I want to make sure whatever you say, it's not going to, you have a right to remain silent. Anything that you say can and will be used against you in court of law. So you want to make sure you're not saying any incriminating statements. So you probably need to run that by your attorney first. Okay. County Court, Law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session in cause number 330742. The case is styled the state of Texas versus Gary Lee Barnes. Mr. Barnes, is that your full name? How are you doing, Mr. Barnes? I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Barnes, you represented in your case by your attorney, Lance Wynn. Attorney Wynn, how are you doing?
Doing good, Judge.
That's good. Now, Mr. Barnes, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Barnes, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God? Mr. Barnes, you may put your hand down. Mr. Wynn, do you waive a record in Mr. Barnes' case?
Wait.
Mr. Barnes, I have before me a document that is titled information. This information was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. In this information, it alleged that you, Gary Lee Barnes, on or about October 23rd of 2020, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of prostitution. Mr. Barnes, do you understand what you have been charged with? And to this charge, Mr. Barnes, how do you plead guilty, not guilty, or no contest? Guilty? Now, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily? And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty? Now, Mr. Barnes, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment. It is also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. Do you recognize this document? On page 2 of this same document, there are a set of initials that's on a line next to a box that's checked guilty. I don't think those are your initials, Mike. Did you initiate? I think you have it as attorney initials on. Thank you. Now, Mr. Barnes, on this document, there are two sets of initials. First set of initials is LN, which is your attorney, and this attorney Lance Wynn. Next set of initials is GB. Next to LN, did you place your initials next to your attorney's initials on this document? On page 3 of this same document, there is a signature above the line that is titled defendant. Is this your signature? On the next document that titled trial court certification, the defendant's right of appeal. Do you recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant? There's one box that's checked at the top of this document. That box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain agreement and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that statement? Oh, here we go. Mr. Wynn, I also have another document. This document before me is titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
It is, Your Honor. Actually, for attorney for defendant.
Okay, and Mr. Wynn, is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes.
And Mr. Wynn,
Yes.
not Mr. Wynn, Mr. Barnes, before you signed and initialed these documents, did you read the documents?
Yes.
And did your attorney go over these documents with you? And did you understand everything that your attorney went over? And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge? Mr. Wynn, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. Now, state, I have before me state's exhibit number 1. You like to offer state's 1?
Yes, sir.
No objection.
And state's exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Barnes, are you a citizen of the United States? Okay. Now, Mr. Wynn, you advised and counseled Mr. Barnes. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
He's competent, Judge.
And Mr. Barnes, your attorney, Mr. Wynn, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation? Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation? Mr. Barnes, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given, and will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, sir.
And what is that agreement?
Your Honor, in exchange for a plea of guilty or no contest, state security recommend 4 days in Jefferson County Jail and court costs. Credit for 4 days, and we ask the tax and retire on the court costs.
Okay. Mr. Barnes, the state is offering that you serve 4 days in the Jefferson County Jail. You will not have to serve any more time in the Jefferson County Jail on this case because you've already served 4 days in the Jefferson County Jail. Therefore, you'll be given credit for the time that you've already served. The court cost in this case is $292, but you will not be required to pay the $292 because the time that you have spent in jail has already paid it off. Therefore, the court costs will be taxed and retired. Mr. Barnes, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer? Mr. Barnes, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Barnes, you're gonna stand in front of our court clerk and follow her directions. Once you finish following her directions, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. And Mr. Wynn, you'll be free to go as well and you have a blessed day.
Yes.
All right. All right, you're welcome.
So what I'll need you to do is, for you to put pretty hard on that, and it's gonna be your right thumb and you're just already right. Yes, sir. Three, two more. Two more, next. Yes, sir. I know. Thank you. And then this is your paperwork for today, okay? All right, thank you, sir.
Mr. Gallo, Mr. Doyle. Court is back in session to clause numbers M331380 and clause number M327966. Both cases will style the state of Texas versus Michael Gallo III. Now, Mr. Doyle, prior to the court taking a recess on this case, Mr. Gallo, and Mr. Gallo wanted to confer with you.
Yes.
Okay, now, the court had previously made the statement, the court asked the question whether or not you were ready for trial.
And I still,
Right, now, what is your announcement?
My announcement is I would like to have like 10 days or a week because there's an issue that I need to look at that I didn't think was up yet.
You have any objections, state?
old case, Judge, but that's fine. If he needs another recess.
Okay, we're gonna put him on the next available trial docket.
Right.
Okay, so case, now he's gonna go up to number one.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's just have a seat. We're gonna get our coordinator back in and we're gonna set your case in the next number one case.
Okay.
Court is in session and calls number M320072. The case is styled State of Texas versus Oscar Mendoza. Mr. Mendoza, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Mr. Mendoza?
Pretty good, yourself?
I'm doing fine. Now, Mr. Mendoza, I see here, looking at the docket sheet, there's a note that says your case was reset to give you an opportunity to hire an attorney. Have you hired your attorney? Okay. Why haven't you hired your attorney? Okay, now, I think that when you were here the last time, the court informed you that you had 3 options
Yes.
regarding your right to have an attorney. Number 1, you can hire your own attorney. Number 2, if you could not afford to hire an attorney, if you did not have enough money to hire an attorney, you can request that an attorney be appointed to represent you.
That's right.
Number 3, if you wanted to represent yourself, then you can waive your right to an attorney. Now, do you understand those 3 options?
Yes, sir.
Now, do you still want to try to hire your attorney?
No, sir. I got something to say.
Hold on, let me do this here. Now, I'm just asking you about the attorney right now.
I don't want to hire one.
Now, do you want to waive your right to an attorney and represent yourself, or do you? Okay. Now, before you do that, you have to, is there a judge's explanation of rights to defendants
Judge,
without attorney?
If I'm not mistaken, you were here on an announcement and I spoke to you.
Yes.
Right, correct. So
You already did a waiver?
he did the waiver and then,
Oh,
but he didn't want,
Yes, yes.
he wanted to reset the hire the last time.
oh, hold on a minute.
So
Could we look up in his file, look in his file to see what paperwork is there? And we looking for this is Mr. Oscar Mendoza. He's on the announcement document.
see, that's not,
Yeah.
He did right. yeah.
He's on the announcement document. Just hold on a minute.
It's not.
Hold on a minute.
Thank you.
Mendoza.
Okay, just a second.
Okay. Oh, I have, let me see. I have his file right here too. It says see judge's explanation of rights, right? On this, he just scratched through it, and yeah, we don't have a waiver on file. Okay,
He was just, he was.
yeah, I see, apparently I see it was scratched through his initials, OM. He's at one time it had, I want to waive my right to the attorney, represent myself, then it was scratched through, says I want to reset this case to hire my own attorney. Now, now you're telling the court that you want to waive your right
Yes, sir.
to have that? Okay, so what we need to do, we need to sign a new form that's titled Judge's Explanation of Rights to Defendants Without Attorney. Plus, you're gonna sign a waiver of counsel for purposes of entering a guilty plea or proceeding the trial. Both of those documents should be on the table right before you. Hold on a minute. We'll have somebody to get it to you.
there, my man.
We got 3 forfeitures in there, Judge.
Yes, oh, okay.
You speak up, okay, so the judge can hear you, all right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Court is in session and calls number M333586. The case is styled the state of Texas versus Brandon Keon Dugar. Mr. Dugar, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Dugar, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Dugar, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Dugar, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Dugar? I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Dugar, you represented in your case by your attorney, Attorney James Paget. Attorney Paget, how are you doing?
Bless you, thank you.
Mr. Paget, do you waive a record in Mr. Dugar's case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Dugar, I have before me a document that is titled information. This information alleges that on or about April 5th of 2022, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you, Brandon Keon Dugar, committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of unlawfully carrying a weapon. Mr. Dugar, do you understand what you have been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to discharge, Mr. Dugar, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No comment.
And let me do this here just for the record. That offense occurred on or about April 9th, April 5th of 2022. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And you entered a plea of no contest to the charge of unlawfully carrying a weapon that occurred on April 5th of 2022 while you were in Jefferson County, Texas. Is that correct?
Yes.
Mr. Dugar, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishments. This document is also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. Mr. Dugar, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And on page 2 of this same document, there are a set of initials, look like BD, that's on a line next to a box that's checked no contingent, which means no contest. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 3 of this same document, there is a signature above the line that is titled defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
And on the next document that is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
There are 2 boxes that's checked at the top of this document. First box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box that's checked states that you are waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes, sir.
I also have before me a document that is titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Duvar, before you sign and initialed all of these documents that I've just mentioned to you, did your attorney, Mr. Paget, go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct
Yes, sir.
to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Dugar, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment. And I have before me State's Exhibit Number 2, the probable cause affidavit, which is in the court's file. State, would you like to offer State's Exhibits 1 and 2 into evidence?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any
No
objections?
Your Honor.
No objections. State's Exhibits 1 and 2 are admitted into evidence. Mr. Paget, you advised and counseled Mr. Duval. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Duval, your attorney, Mr. Paget, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes.
Mr. Duval, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
I do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
Change for plea of guilty or no contest, states agree to recommend 1 year deferred adjudication and community supervision, a $500 fine for cause, 40 hours community-based service. Also, and all of their standards and conditions deemed appropriate by probation, as well as forfeiture of the weapons in this case.
That is our understanding, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, Mr. Dugar, the state is offering that you serve 1 year deferred adjudicated probation. During this 1 year probationary period, you'll be required, a minute, let me calculate this. Okay, now, Mr. Dugar, the state is offering that you serve 1 year deferred adjudicated probation. During the 1 year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $500 plus court costs of $357. You'll also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a urinalysis fee of $15 each month, and you'll be required to pay a restitution fee of $15. Your total monthly expenses, that is the total amount that you'll be required to pay each month while you're on probation, is $161. Will you be able to pay the $161 each month?
Yes.
You'll also be required to perform 40 hours of community service, and you will be required to forfeit the weapons in this case, as well as adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of your probation. Now, I have before me 3 motions to forfeit the weapons. And in these motions, the weapons will be forfeited to the Beaumont Police Department. Now, he put his initial, you were supposed to sign, he put his initials on here. Supposed to have a signature where it has DB. I'll sign each one of them.
Go ahead, my man. One more time for me, brother. Thank you, sir.
Now, Mr. Dugar, I have before me 3 motions forfeit the weapons in each one, in this case. Now, Mr. Dugar, in his first motion to forfeit, is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
In the second motion, is this also your signature on the line that's titled defendant? And in the third motion, is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Dugar, before you signed that he issued all of these documents that I've just showed you, did you read the documents? And did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents? And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge? Now, Mr. Dugar, do you want the court to grant the motions to forfeit in these weapons?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the court is going to grant these motions to forfeit the weapon forfeit these weapons to the Beaumont Police Department. And the court is signing the motions right now, or signing the order right now. And the weapons in these cases will be forfeited to the Beaumont Police Department. Now, Mr. Dugar, do you understand the state's offer in these cases, in this case?
Yes, sir.
And do you think that the state's offer is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Dugar, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Now, Mr. Dugar, your attorney has just handed you a document that is titled Model Written Ammunition on Ineligibility to Possess a Firearm or Ammunition. And so in accordance with the Texas Administrative Code, Section 176.1, the court hereby admonishes you or warns you of the following. Number one, you are by entry of order or judgment ineligible under Texas law to possess a firearm or ammunition. Number two, beginning now, if you possess a firearm or ammunition, it could lead to charges against you. If you have questions about how long you will be ineligible to possess a firearm or ammunition, you should consult an attorney. Number three, under Texas Penal Code, Section 46.013, a firearms mean any device designed, made, or adapted to expel a projectile through a barrel by using the energy generated by burning explosion or burning substance, or any device readily convertible to that use. B, firearm does not include a firearm that may have as an integral part a folding knife blade or other characteristics of weapons made illegal by Penal Code Chapter 46, and that is one, an antique or curio firearm manufactured before 1899 or a replica of an antique or curio firearm manufactured before 1899, but only if the replica does not use rimfire or centerfire ammunition. The statutes listed below are starting point for ineligibility to possess a firearm or ammunition. For more information about the laws that make you ineligible to possess a firearm or ammunition, or for more information on how long your ineligibility to possess a firearm or ammunition lasts, the court recommends you contact an attorney. Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 17.292, Magistrate's Orders for Emergency Protection. Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 42.0131, Notice for persons convicted of misdemeanors involving family violence. Penal Code, Section 46.02, unlawful carrying weapons. Penal Code, Section 46.04, unlawful possession of firearm. Penal Code, Section 25.07, violation of certain court orders or conditions of bond in a family violence, child abuse or neglect, sexual assault or abuse, indecent assault, stalking, or trafficking case. Family Code, Section 85.026, warning on protective orders. Now, the written admonition that is before you is for your records. This will conclude your case. You're going to stand in front of our court clerk, follow her directions. Once you're finished following her directions, you'll be free to go, and you have a best day. Thank you.
If you're right, then very close already.
Oh, I gave him.
No, the other guy. Do you have the next guy?
Oh,
That's a family violence terrorist attack.
You might want, yeah. And one more.
Okay. Mr. Next case is cause number M329708. Case is filed in the state of Texas versus Kenneth Anthony Dunlap. Mr. Dunlap, would you please come forward? Mrs. Cisneros, please put your mic on mute. Thank you. This is cause number M329708. The case is filed in the state of Texas versus Kenneth Anthony Dunlap. Mr. Dunlap, is that your full name? How you doing, Mr. Dunlap? That's good. Mr. Dunlap, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Dunlap, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Dunlap, you may put your hand down. Mr. Dunlap, you're represented in your case by your attorney, Attorney James Padgett. Attorney Padgett, do you waive a record in Mr. Dunlap's case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Dunlap, I have before me a document that is titled information. This information alleges that on or about April 26th of 2021, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you, Kenneth Dunlap, committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of terrorist threat, family violence. Mr. Dunlap, do you understand what you have been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Mr. Dunlap, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
Now, Mr. Dunlap, are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Dunlap, I also have before me a document that is titled misdemeanor plea admonishment. It's also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Oh, you do? Okay. Now, on page 2 of this same document, there are a set of initials, KD, that are on the line next to a box that's titled nolo contendere, which means no contest. Did you place your initials on this document? On page 3 of the same document, there's a signature above the line that is titled defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
And on the next document, this next document is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. Do you recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that is titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
There are 2 boxes at the top of this document that's checked. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that statement? The second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that statement? I also have before me a document that is titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Dunlap, before you signed and initialed all these documents that I just showed you, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you understand everything that your attorney went over?
Yes, sir.
And did you read everything that he also went over?
Yes, sir.
Now, is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge? Mr. Dunlap, are you a citizen of the United States? State, I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment, and State's Exhibit Number 2, the probable cause affidavit. State, would you like to offer State's Exhibits 1 and 2?
Yes, sir.
Any objections?
No objections, Your Honor.
No objections. State's Exhibits 1 and 2 are admitted. Mr. Padgett, you've advised and counseled Mr. Dunlap. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Dunlap, your attorney, Mr. Padgett, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Dunlap, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
Exchange for a plea of guilty or no contest, state should recommend one hearing, deferred adjudication, community supervision, $500 fine and court costs, batter's intervention prevention program, and no contact with the Aisha Drew, complaining witness, and all other terms and conditions deemed appropriate by probation.
Any community service?
Your Honor, he is currently on 5 years felony probation, doing 180 hours of community service.
So we'll waive community service.
Okay, because they had somebody wrote 40 hours on here.
And maybe it was confused with another deal.
Okay, so you gotta have
I'll
to check that out.
We were asking, Your Honor, if we could allow community service in the following case. It was going to run concurrent.
Well, they normally run.
We can
like
leave
that.
40 on it, and it doesn't matter just because.
I think that's what they normally do.
Add like this, and if he does 40, it'll be, go take the other 40 here. If he's got plenty. It's not, it doesn't matter. So if you leave it on there.
We'll just leave it like that, Your Honor.
Okay,
He'll be,
It's not gonna add on.
it's not going to add any.
okay. So,
You better
okay, hold on a minute.
be doing it, John. You just stand there.
Let me see. That's Dunlop, right? That's Mr. Dunlop. Okay. Okay. Plus. 2, 7, 2, plus. Okay, Mr. Dunlop, the state is offering that you serve 1 year deferred adjudicated probation. During the 1 year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $500 plus court costs the court cost is $402. You'll also be required to pay probation fee of $60 each month, a urinalysis fee of $15 each month, and you'll be required to pay a urinalysis fee, a reimbursement fee of $50. Your total monthly installments, that is the total amount that you'll be required to pay each month is $165 a month. Will you be able to pay the $165 each month?
Yes, sir.
You'll also be required to perform 40 hours of community service. You cannot have any contact with Aisha Drew. You will also be required to attend and complete the batter's intervention and prevention program. And you will also be required to adhere to other standard terms and conditions of this probation. Mr. Dunlap, do you understand the state's offer? And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes,
Okay, Mr. Dunlap, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Now, Mr. Dunlap, if you successfully complete the probationary period, this case will not result in a conviction. The case will be dismissed and you may qualify for non-disclosure. You could talk to your attorney about the non-disclosure. Now, your attorney has just handed you a document that is titled model written ammunition on ineligibility to possess firearm or ammunition. And I'll go over this document, which it states, in accordance with the Texas Administrative Code, section 176.1, the court hereby admonishes you or warns you of the following. Number one, you are by entry of order or judgment ineligible under Texas law to possess a firearm or ammunition. Number two, beginning now, if you possess a firearm or ammunition, it could lead to charges against you. If you have questions about how long you will be ineligible to possess a firearm or ammunition, you should consult an attorney. Number three, under Texas Penal Code, section 46.013, A, firearms mean any device designed, made, or adapted to expel a projectile through a barrel by using the energy generated by an explosion or burning substance, or any device readily convertible to that use. B, firearm does not include a firearm that may have, as an integral part, a folding knife blade or other characteristics of weapons made illegal by Penal Code Chapter 46, and that is one, an antique or curio firearm manufactured before 1899, or two, a replica of an antique or curio firearm manufactured before 1899, but only if the replica does not use rimfire or centerfire ammunition. The statutes listed below are a starting point for ineligibility to possess a firearm or ammunition. For more information about the laws that make you ineligible to possess a firearm or ammunition, or for more information on how long your ineligibility to possess a firearm or ammunition lasts, the court recommends you contact an attorney. Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 17.292, Magistrate's Order for Emergency Protection. Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 42.0131, Notice for persons convicted of misdemeanors involving family violence. Penal Code, Section 46.02, Unlawful carrying weapons. Penal Code, Section 46.04, Unlawful possession of firearm. Penal Code, Section 25.07, violation of certain court orders or conditions of bond in a family violence, child abuse and neglect, sexual assault or abuse, indecent assault, stalking, or trafficking case. Family Code, Section 85.026, warning on protective orders. Now, Mr. Dunlop, the document that you have before you, the model written ammunition on ineligible to possess a firearm or ammunition, is for your copy, is for you to keep. This will conclude your case. Please stand in front of the court clerk to my immediate right, follow her directions. Once you finish following her directions, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. And Mr. Paget, I think this is your last case. You'll be free to go as well and you have a blessed day.
Right, sounds very fine.
This is cause number M320072. The case is styled the state of Texas versus Oscar Mendoza. Mr. Mendoza, is that your full name? Mr. Mendoza, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Mendoza, do you swear, affirm, and tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes.
Mr. Mendoza, you may put your hand down. Mr. Mendoza, I have before me two documents. The first document is titled Judge's Explanation of Rights to Defendants Without Attorney. Mr. Mendoza, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
That's correct.
And are these your initials on the line stating that you want to waive your right to an attorney and represent yourself?
Yes, sir.
I also have another document before me that is titled Waiver of Counsel for Purposes of Entering a Guilty Plea. Mr. Mendoza, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant? Mr. Mendoza, before you signed and initialed these documents, did you read the documents? Did you understand what you read? And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge? Okay, now, Mr. Mendoza, your case is going to be reset, and the reason why this case is going to be reset, we're going to give you an opportunity to meet with the district attorney, maybe to get some, what we call discovery, where you can have access to the evidence that they have in the case that they will be using against you in your case. And so give them about a 60-day reset. And you're gonna have to set an appointment up with the district attorney's office. Yes.
Okay, July 10th.
Okay, this case is going to be reset July 10th, 2023 for the announcement docket. All right? Please stand on the 4X in front of our court coordinator. She's gonna reset your case. And once the case
The
is
appointment up to my office, third floor, not me right here, but up there.
third floor, the district attorney's office. Let them know that you need to see the, you're gonna set an appointment to see Mr. Colby Hoffpower for discovery. But you know, this is cause number M329584, case of style, the state of Texas versus Arturo David Beltra Cisneros. Mr. Cisneros is appearing via Zoom. Mr. Cisneros, you can take your mic off of mute. Mr. Cisneros, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, Judge. Thank you.
That's good. Mr. Cisneros, you're represented in your case by your attorney, Attorney Tom Kelly. Mr. Kelly, how are you doing?
Pretty good today, Judge.
That's good.
About 12 out of 10.
12 out of 10.
10.
Okay. Seems like that's pretty good to me.
Had a good Mother's Day yesterday.
Yeah,
Doing great.
that's good. Now, Mr. Kelly, what's your announcement in Mr. Cisneros' case?
We'd like a trial setting, please, Judge.
Okay, give us a reset date. Okay, this case is going to be reset for trial June 19th, 2023. Mr. Cisneros, your attorney will be giving you a reset. Stay in contact with your attorney and your bondsman. You're free to go. You have a blessed day. Again, your case is set for trial June 19th, 2023. And Mr. Kelly, you can get your reset from our coordinator. Once you get your reset, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day.
You as well, Judge.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. You're welcome. All the case you have.
And this one.
Angel.
Angel Fisher.
Not Angel.
Angel. Okay, call Angel Fisher again.
Was that Joey Butterfield? No, it wasn't that. Was it?
Angel Fisher's name was just called at the courthouse door. Angel Fisher was scheduled to be in court this morning for 9 a.m. for the court's trial docket. At about 9 a.m., the court's barely called the name of Angel Fisher at the courthouse door. Angel Fisher did not answer. Angel Fisher has not appeared in court since the court has been in session. Angel Fisher's name was just called again at 11:40 6:55 a.m. on today's date of May 15th, 2023. Angel Fisher name was called by the court's bailiff at the courthouse door. Angel Fisher did not answer. Reasonable time has passed to give Angel Fisher an opportunity to appear in court. She has not appeared in court. State, do you have a motion?
Say move for ball forward.
That motion will be granted. Angel Fisher's bond will be forfeited and a warrant shall be issued for her arrest and cause number M329508. And just for the record, Ms. Fisher's attorney, Todd LeBlanc, did make an appearance. Mr. LeBlanc, you're free to go and you have a blessed day.
Thank you.